Hey folks, just wanted to share some of my first impressions and thoughts on the Springfield Defender Series 1911 in 45 ACP. I've been seeing this pistol advertised and talked about a lot over the past year, but there's not a whole lot of video information on it, so I figured I would post this video. I'll start this video out by saying that this is my first 1911. I've always been intrigued by it, but it just seemed like it was kind of a complicated world to enter into. There are a lot of very opinionated 1911 shooters out there with very strong opinions about what makes a good 1911 and how it should be set up and so on and so on. And I don't know, I was always just a little bit intimidated by it, I think. But finally, after doing some research, I stumbled upon the Defender series, which, Springfield was selling them for right around $500. On different websites, and thought that this would be a good one. I see that Springfield is very commonly recommended as a good starter 1911 in terms of a factory gun, so I just wanted to have something that was going to run well and that had a pretty good reputation in terms of entry-level 1911s. So the Defender Series 1911, basically, from what I understand, is just a Milspec 1911 Springfield, and the Defender series aspect really just refers to the promotional package that Springfield was running to try and get people interested in the 1911, maybe younger shooters like myself, people who didn't have experience with the 1911 but maybe were always kind of intrigued by the concept of them. It's pretty straightforward, just government 1911 in 45, parkerized finish. It's got these pretty plain wooden grips, kind of harkening back to just like the GI, the 1911A1. I know that the sights on it are definitely an upgrade from what an actual Milspec 1911 would be. I know the Springfield Milspec is not a Milspec per se, and kind of like the vintage collector's idea of what that would be, but an improvement, definitely. They're pretty simple sights. I have a feeling it would be extremely hard, if not impossible, to replace them without some machining work, but they do the job, and they do the job just fine for my purposes. One other thing that sets the Defender Series 1911 apart from the regular Milspec is that it ships with only one 7-round magazine as opposed to 2, and it also ships in a cardboard box, which I believe the regular Milspec ships in a Springfield case. I've only been out to the range with this 1911 once. On that trip, I put 200 rounds of 230 grain ball through it. Mixed brands, I believe some S&B, some Winchester, and I believe just Federal American Eagle was the last of the 3 brands. I have yet to try it with any hollow points, but just again, first impression, cleaned the gun and lubed it when I first got it. No break-in period or anything, just 200 rounds right out of the box, no problems. That's always a good sign. I like getting started off on the right foot. With a purchase like that. That's a really good thing. For magazines, I've got the Springfield 7-rounder that comes stock. I bought another one of these. I've got a couple of these Wilson. I believe they're the 47Ds. I can't remember the model number off the top of my head, but this is just the regular 7-round Wilson magazine, which is what all the 1911 guys recommend you use, kind of like the go-to magazine. So this is just a 7-rounder. No issues with that. And then I just did pick up this Colt 8-round magazine just to test some different stuff out. I'm probably just going to buy some more of the Wilsons because of how often they're recommended, but no issues with the Colt either. I always just make the comment in terms of accuracy, the gun is more accurate than I am. I'm still getting used to shooting a 1911. I gotta say, the trigger is to die for, and if you haven't shot a 1911 before, you should really shoot one and just enjoy how sublime the single action trigger on a 1911, and even just a relatively rough factory 1911 like this one is just such a huge improvement over pretty much anything that I've shot. So I really am curious to see what a nice Wilson or some nice custom 1911 would be like in terms of the trigger. Ergonomically, even with my small hands, a government size 1911 feels awesome. I just really like single stack guns. They just feel right in my hand. It feels like the right size for me. Recoil Impulse on the 1911 for me is just much better than most of the other 45 ACP guns that I've shot. I had a Glock 30, which I did like quite a bit, and I had a SIG P220, and this vastly outperforms the SIG P220 just in terms of how soft shooting it is, shooting 230 grain ball. Something about maybe the weight, maybe it's just the ergonomics. It just seems that this shoots a lot flatter for me and a lot softer than the P220 ever did. Overall, I'm really pleased with this gun for the first 200 rounds. I'm really looking forward to shooting it a lot more and learning about the 1911 platform and how it might be able to work for me in some different roles outside of just being a really cool range toy and neat piece of firearms history. Once I get some more data and time with this 1911, I'll do a full-length review and post it here, but my initial impressions are very positive, and I think this is going to be a really nice firearm to own and to shoot. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.